On this edition of Independent Sources, I am Muslim, I am NYC. The city launches an anti-Islamophobia campaign as attacks against Muslims reaches an all-time high. And naturalizing New Yorkers, the effort to help immigrants pay for the growing cost of becoming an American citizen.
Independent Sources, your window to the city's ethnic and immigrant communities. Your host this week, Abi Ishola.
Muslims are in the crosshairs of angry Americans more than ever before, and that resentment is growing in New York City. Recently, there were a number of brutal attacks on members of that community. One woman wearing a hijab was recently set on fire as she walked through Manhattan. While in Queens, an imam and his companion were shot and killed as they walked home from Saturday prayers. These attacks are part of what's prompted the mayor's office and the NYC Commission of Human Rights to launch the I Am Muslim, I Am NYC campaign. Zyphus LeBron spoke to Rama Issa Ibrahim, the lead advisor at the Commission's Community Relations Bureau, and freelance journalist Nidha Khan, who has been covering the city's Muslim community about the campaign and Islamophobia in New York.
So Rama, let's start talking a little bit about this I Am Muslim, I Am NYC campaign. Tell us a little bit about why the campaign was launched.
A little bit of background on the New York City Commission on Human Rights. We are an agency that upholds the human rights law in New York, and we have 22 protective categories under housing, employment, and public accommodations. And we really have seen a rise in what it seems to be hate crimes and just bigotry around the Muslim community in general, not only in New York, but nationwide. And we, with the two imams who've been killed in Queens and another auntie who was stabbed, we had these incidents in Brooklyn with these two women who were wearing a hijab and were verbally harassed. So we found a need to, as a city, be pretty blunt about what we think needs to be done, and that is, to say to our Muslim sisters and brothers that we are here, we hear you, and you can use us as a resource, that anybody who lives in New York City should live free and safely from discrimination. So that's pretty much how the concept of the campaign came about.
Okay, so what constitutes the campaign in itself? I know that there's a hashtag and there's an internet presence and so forth. Talk a little bit about that.
So we have a few ad campaigns, and they're out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And these are real Muslim New Yorkers, so real folks from the community. And we use the hashtag I Am Muslim NYC. And that's just the beginning of a larger campaign that we're launching around the Muslim communities. So the next step would be we're working together with the Islamic Center at NYU and different community leaders to launch this workshop called Understanding Islam that's targeted towards city agencies and other employers that will, break the stereotypes of Islam and educate folks out there about what the religion entails and talk a little bit about Islamophobia. We also have on our website a fact sheet that talks about different, religious accommodations under the law that the community can take a look at and educate themselves about their rights. And there's a couple of other literature that's out there on religious accommodations, and that's for all religions in general in New York City. And we're working closely with other mayor agencies to put more programming out there for the community. So we're working together with the mayor's office of the Community Affairs Unit to put together a public safety forum. Right. For example, and just to let the community know that they can come to us and use us as a resource, and so they can feel safe.
Mm-hmm. Now, Nidha, to you, Rama talked about the levels of Islamophobia, the level of violence against Muslims in this city in particular. What are we seeing? Is this kind of like at a point when it's at an all-time high?
It's actually, and not only, as you made the point, not only New York City, but nationwide, it's actually the highest level of hate crimes against Muslims that we've seen since right after the September 11th attacks. And there's been several studies done on this as well. Like Adelphi University recently came out with their preliminary results. They interviewed about 600 Muslims, and almost 2/3 of them reported discriminatory attacks against them over the course of this campaign cycle, the election cycle, actually. So honing in on politics itself too, which is important in this conversation because we can't negate that fact, right? Like Islamophobia has existed for a long time. The negative stereotyping and imaging against Muslims has been there for a very, very long time, even before 9/11, so pre-9/11. But what we're seeing now in this era where you have Donald Trump and you have people who openly spew anti-Muslim rhetoric is that it's become normalized and accepted on a level that we haven't seen ever before.
Right, and this violence it's very extreme. It feels like I read the story recently about this woman with the hijab who was set on fire in Manhattan.
Right. So there was the two women in Brooklyn that you mentioned, who they were pushing their babies in a stroller. They were attacked. I believe the woman who attacked these women even pushed over one of the strollers. And then you have the two moms that were shot execution style in broad daylight. You had the aunt of a NYPD transit cop who was stabbed to death as well in Queens. So you see incidents like that, and then you see also, where people who may not even be Muslim, but are perceived to be Muslim that are attacked as well. You had the Arab Christian gentleman in Tulsa, Oklahoma, who was killed by his neighbor who called him a dirty Arab. And then you have other more subliminal forms of racism and discrimination that can have just as deadly consequences. And I wrote a very personal piece about this back in December when Donald Trump came out with his proposed Muslim ban about what happened to my own father in 2005. He was coming out of a grocery store in New Jersey and he was hit by a car, and the police and EMT arrived on the scene, assumed he couldn't speak English, put a language barrier in their report and sent him to a non-trauma hospital, and he didn't get transferred for 5 hours, and by that time he fell into a coma and he died 3 days later. So it's like this sort of othering and trying to portray a certain group of people as they're not American, their lives don't matter as much, who cares, can have very, very real deadly consequences. So I'm glad to see that you guys are doing this. It's fantastic. It's a great initial start, but we need to do a lot more. We need to have more Muslims elected in office, working for city government. We need more Muslims in media to push back against improper narratives. We need Muslims behind the scenes. We need more Muslims in pop culture so we can actually have a voice.
One of the things, Rama, that I'm curious about with the program is that, Nitha mentioned the fact that there are so many cases being reported, but in other studies, they've found that 2/3 of the cases of these assaults are not being reported because Muslims don't feel comfortable. They feel that they don't have a voice. Is this campaign an effort in a way to give them that voice, to feel comfortable actually filing these reports of, hey, listen, something happened, or feeling like the community, they are part of the community?
Sure. Definitely. I think that there is a lot of mistrust between, several immigrant communities and Muslim communities and law enforcement or just government in general. And so what we're doing is trying to mend that relationship. By having this campaign is just the first step. But we also, I was hired specifically to do this work with Arab, Muslim, and South Asian communities. So to go out there and in the communities and explain folks' rights under the law and give them an opportunity to know that we are here as a resource and that they can file claim with us and that we're here for them.
I know it's early days still, but what's the response been so far?
It's been really great. Yeah. Of course, you have your detractors in any campaign, but ultimately, New Yorkers have been very proud that we've put this forward, and we've received a lot of praise from the community themselves, thanking us for doing this. And of course, we know that this is the first step again, but and then from New Yorkers who are not Muslim, who are very proud of the diversity of the city and really respect that we're doing this also as part of New York being a city of inclusion, you know, and diversity.
Nida, I wanted to kind of get your impressions as regards to, you know, we talked about the political influence on this. Is there a going back, do you think? You know, folks talk about, you know, the envelope has kind of been pushed all the way over. Is there a stemming of this sort of escalation of this kind of violence and this sort of intense Islamophobia, do you think?
I would hope so, but I really think it's going to take a long time because unfortunately, we haven't even fully seen the ramifications of polluting our discourse in this way and just creating this sort of toxic environment. Like, we're seeing it now, obviously, but this is going to be, you know, for years and years to come because you're putting this sort of messaging in people's minds day in and day out. And you got to remember, like, Donald Trump was, I guess, I hate to use the word smart, but he was the smart one to seize on the fact that this existed, right? And he capitalized on it for his own political aggrandizement. But, you know, when you have places like Fox News every single day talking about radical Islam, and then you have other quote unquote mainstream networks that still only bring up Muslims in the context of terrorism. And then you have people on the left like Bill Maher who completely discount Islam and talk about it in such a way that nobody else does. It's normalized on a level that we've never seen before. And Donald Trump just took that and ran with it. He's like, you know what? People don't know, Americans don't know enough about Islam. He's like, they're fearful of them. So he's like, let me use this as a wedge issue. He saw, I'm sure he and his handlers saw how in 2010 it was used back then too to help win the midterm elections. So he was like, you know what? I'm going to go with this. And sadly, it's working for him. But look what it's doing to our society in the process.
All right. Well, Nida Khan, Rama Isa Ibrahim, thank you both for being in studio with us today, and good luck with the initiative.
Thank you so much.
Still to come on the show, helping with the high cost of American citizenship. Thanks for staying tuned. New York State's Office of New Americans has launched a program that assists immigrants seeking to become citizens pay for the rising cost of naturalization. Gary spoke to the director of the Office of New Americans, Laura Gonzalez-Murphy, to learn more about the Naturalized New York initiative.
Can you tell us a little bit more about Naturalized New York?
Well, Naturalized New York is an initiative that the governor launched in July with the Office for New Americans. And it's an effort to try and assist those individuals, green card holders in the state, that are having difficulty paying for the fee to naturalize, to become citizenship. We know that that is an obstacle financially, for them. So we want to assist them in being able to become new Americans.
How much does it cost for one to become an American citizen?
$680 is the application fee right now for the citizenship form. However, add to that the cost that it takes from leaving work to go to, get assistance with an attorney, the fee for an attorney, or even taking the English classes that you need in order to pass the civics exam. So with this Naturalized New York, we provide that payment for that fee, but also when we link them to our Office for New Americans, we provide those services for free as well. So,
No, continue.
So I was just going to say, it's a multiplicity of services that help with the total cost.
So when did you guys identify this as a problem?
Well, we've heard about it. We've known that to become a citizen, it's difficult. Being the Office for New Americans and working through our centers with the immigrant population, we hear this, we're aware of it. We also know there's some kind of research on it that identify the numbers, but there isn't qualitative data really that tells you about the individual in itself, about what happens when they do become naturalized. So we wanted to find out whether that obstacle would help. And with collaboration with academic institutions and with some private partners, we've engaged in this lottery where we're providing the fee.
How many people have you helped become citizens so far?
Well, in terms of this project itself, it just kicked out. As I said, July, the governor launched it. However, the lottery, because it's going to be through a process of a lottery, random selection, we have up to 2,000 vouchers for the span of the year that we'll be able to assist. And it's September 23rd when the first lottery kicks off. So that day, we'll be able to notify, we'll select.
Why the lottery process?
In order to be fair. Okay. It is a random selection. We know that there's so many, there's at least under 1 million green card holders in New York State that qualify for becoming a
But
citizen.
for the people who don't understand the term green card, it's a legal citizen. It's a,
Legal
it's a permanent card.
residency.
Yeah,
Yes, it's that card.
When someone wins this lottery, how do they apply and how do you choose that?
That's a really good question. Well, we are notifying right now everybody with like efforts like yours to assist and to notify the public. The application process can be through different ways. You can first go to one of our opportunity centers, or you can assist and request assistance there. You can call our hotline, our own hotline.
What is that number?
1-800-566-7636. Or you could also register through the website, through your phone or through any internet. It's www.naturalizeny.org. And it's a simple process, really, but anyone can help, an individual that is having difficulty to read it and go through. It's in various languages, the 6 languages that the governor has,
what
directed,
are the languages?
which are French, French Creole, Korean, Chinese. We have it in Russian, we have it in Italian, and obviously Spanish.
And ultimately, what's the goal of this project?
We want to understand what are the inhibitors, the obstacles that are there for individuals to become citizens, because we have a substantive population that have not. We believe, as I said, one of them is the financial from research. But we want to really find out for sure so that we can target our services to assist them to that eventual goal of being a citizen and contribute to the community, and also become culturally, socially, part of your community.
You not only provide the money for the fee that immigration charges, but you provide the lawyer's fee and all of that as well?
Well, the Office for New Americans itself, as I mentioned to you earlier, we're throughout the state. And we're 27 opportunity centers nested in community organizations.
What do you mean? Why are they called opportunity centers? That's an interesting name.
Because we feel that the services we provide there are really a step for a new American to have the opportunity to become part of his community. So we provide English classes. We provide assistance with attorneys. We provide help with identifying how to start or how to build a business. And we provide workshops dealing with issues particular to the community where that opportunity center is. It could be help with applying for college, for community college in general, assistance with problems with domestic violence, those kind of workshops. So we provide the tools for the new American that wants to contribute to the community. So that's why opportunity.
Okay, interesting. What else is next for that program?
Well, as I said, the big day is September 23rd, which we want individuals to apply and to be part of this lottery. We will be selecting a certain number at this time, but those that do not win will be rolled over into the second lottery, which is next year.
What's your target number? How many people you want to serve?
We have up to 2,000 vouchers for the population. And I should mention that this is targeted for individuals that are making 150% to 300 below the poverty line. It's a wide number, so I don't care. It's difficult to say a salary because it depends on the individual or how many people live in your household. So I encourage people to apply and find out. But we're also identifying individuals that qualify for the federal fee waiver, which is those that make 150% below. And it can be, for one individual, pretty low, like 11,000 and so on. And we are identifying them as well. They may not win the lottery, but they're told, listen, you qualify for the federal fee assistance. So please come to our centers. We tell them where to go, where's the closest based on their zip code. And they can go there and get the assistance from the attorney, get English language assistance if they need, civics help filling out the application, a whole conglomerate of services.
Unfortunately, we're out of time. Laura Gonzalez-Murphy, thanks for joining us.
Oh, on the contrary, thank you for having me and helping us with this program.
Stay tuned, there's more to come on the show. Finally from us this week, recent research found that nearly 1/3 of students in grades 9 through 12 reported feeling sad or hopeless almost every day. Persistent sadness and hopelessness are criteria for and predictors of clinical depression, and in some cases, that same feeling can lead to suicide. One New York organization is trying to change that, seeking to use art and self-love as an antidote for hopelessness and encouraging kids to feel enthusiastic about dreaming big. Gary Pierre-Pierre spoke to Laura Barron, co-founder of Arts and Dreams and co-author and illustrator of Rose's Summer of Arts and Dreams.
So Laura, talk to us a little bit more about Rose's Summer of Arts and Dreams.
Thanks for having me. Rose's Summer of Arts and Dreams is a story of a 9-year-old girl named Rose in Brooklyn. She wants to be a drummer. She's really creative, but she hasn't been feeling really good about herself or her dreams lately. And these are things that I used to feel when I was a child. So she has her Aunt Olive come visit her in Brooklyn, and over a summer, they learn to have fun together. They do creative projects that help boost Rose's self-love and her confidence, and she learns how to use the mirror to speak kind words to herself, and she starts to feel better about her life.
What made you write such a book?
Well, depression and hopelessness are near and dear to my heart. I suffered from those things, and I lost my brother. He was 20 years old in the year 2000. He killed himself.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And he was hopeless. That's the word that really struck me, that he wrote in his suicide note. And I started healing myself, and I started to decide that I was going to feel better about myself, because I had spent years of my life prior to that not feeling good about myself. And so I started using art in a hopeful way. I started putting kind words in my art, affirmations. And as I started feeling better, I thought, I think this would be helpful for kids and teens everywhere, because a lot of people don't learn that in school or at home, because we don't know how to do it. We don't know it's important to love yourself. So I started creating workshops called Arts and Dreams, and we help kids love themselves through art.
Okay. Well, it's interesting, because in looking through the book and reading it, one thing that struck me was that you don't often think of kids suffering from depression and stuff like that. How common is that?
I believe it's very common. I can only speak to my experience and the children that we've worked with. I think it's something that is not always discussed. It's hard for kids to find a safe place to air those feelings. Like, their parents have a lot of pressure. Everybody's kind of trying to get stuff done, put food on the table, and I think in my experience, having those feelings was kind of not okay. Like, let's move on with the daily life, and why don't you just deal with whatever you're dealing with? So I feel like it's pretty common.
Okay. So how much is working in this book helped you deal with your issues?
I think writing this book has helped me to channel my negative feelings into something positive and uplifting, and to give tools to kids that they can use. Like, they can take out a piece of paper and write down their thoughts, and then write down the things that they're grateful for, and then hopefully shift their mood. So for me, it's kind of like a teaching tool, and it's also like an uplifting story of a girl who went through this, so the kid doesn't necessarily feel alone, and how she helped herself feel better.
So talk to us a little bit more about those tools.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, sure. Like affirmations, for example. That's just a big word for a kind, positive, loving statement. Mm-hmm. So in my experience, I used to think thoughts.
And you mentioned that in the book.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. It's kind of like taking a really recurring negative thought, like, I can't do anything right, I hate myself, and maybe flipping it into the positive. I love myself. I can do whatever I put my mind to. And repeating that habitually, and being conscious and being aware of those thoughts, and trying to flip them into the positive ones while feeling the negative feelings. Not to stuff down the feelings. It's important to feel them, and also to try to look to the bright side and consider the bright side. Consider that you're worthy of the bright side. Mm-hmm.
So is there a movement, or is this been applied in the public school systems in the city?
We've been to several public schools. We've worked with incarcerated teens in the Bronx at Passages. We've worked with kids after school in Brooklyn at the Red Hook Initiative, and it's had a lot of positive results. Just the kids light up, and the kids take to these ideas very quickly, and I think they also light up because thank you for talking about things that aren't normally talked about.
Is this helping the children much?
I feel it is. Our very first workshop we did in Queens with summer school students, and we were warned ahead of time, like one of the students doesn't like art and he's a little bit rowdy, and he just opened up completely while we were making an affirmation painting where he painted something positive and he wrote, "I can achieve." And we heard afterwards that his grades went up, and I'm not going to take credit for all of that, but it was just like a positive thing just to hear a story of just one child being affected by this.
How much is this art? How much is this therapy?
That's a great question. I feel like it's art and therapy that go hand in hand. I'm not a trained therapist, but I did go to college for art and I studied illustration, and so we don't use the word therapy, but I believe it's therapeutic and it's healing, and that's important. And I think empowerment is healing, so it could be considered art therapy, but I think it's more of like a fun, creative project that also makes you feel good.
Why is it that art is one of the subjects whenever a school district is in financial problem?
I know.
It's gone.
I know. I hope that changes.
What can be done?
What can be done? I think more projects like this. So Arts and Dreams raises money on our website, artsanddreams.org, and the donations are used to fund more workshops for schools that don't have the budget for these types of workshops, and I feel it's very important.
So what's next for you?
Well, we're going to be doing more readings with the book and scheduling workshops. If you are interested, schools, administrators, in any private lessons or workshops, you can go to our website, artsanddreams.org, and you can sign up, and we're just going to keep going.
Where can we get this book?
You can get it on our website, artsanddreams.org, or on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, or at Balboa Press online.
Laura Barron, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much.
That's our show this week. Thanks for staying tuned. Till next time, be independent-minded.